This is the Redhawks Roundtable. I'm Dan Giuliani, joined by former Redhawk Doug Buser on the far side there, pitching coach Dave Wainhouse, and hitting coach Donegal Fergus. This is the show where you're going to hear nothing but Seattle University baseball talk, so you better be wearing some black and red, otherwise we don't want you. This is going to be an episode about the off-season in its totality, kind of the trajectory of what's happened since the end of the 2011 season to where we are right now, heading into the 2012 season, hopefully on the upswing. We'll see. We'll talk about it and see where we're at. This has been, if nothing else, a very unique offseason for Seattle University. Some challenges that nobody could have seen coming. An offseason that I think is marked by struggles and overcoming adversity in some of its purest sense, some tragedy in the Seattle University baseball family, and something that I think has shaped this 2012 Redhawks season more than any other single event since Donnie Harrell showed up 3 years ago to get this train rolling. And that's the passing of Cam Christian, who was a kid who was on the upswing not only as a pitcher on this team and as a contributor, but also just as a human being who was getting himself going in the direction he wanted to go. If you would, just talk a little bit about how that event has been for the team, and how the kids have dealt with such a difficult event at any time in life, let alone in college when things are so turbulent anyway.
It's incredible to think about what these kids have gone through this fall and in dealing with something that at that age you just don't expect to happen. I mean, you just feel invincible when you're that age, and for these guys, it's rocked their world quite a bit, I think, and they handle it differently. They grieve at different stages. We all do, and I know that we've talked to them about the fact that it will be better for a little while, and then it'll come back, and it's just a process, and for these guys to take this on, especially our freshmen, I feel it's a lot for them to handle. They're adjusting to being away from home for the first time in their lives, trying to make a team, trying to make an impact, trying to go through school, and to throw this at them is tough. But I also think it's shaped how they're going to move forward just by the legacy that Cam left. He was an incredible kid, and I know Dave's going to say the same thing. He's just an unbelievable kid who really impacted them in a lot of other ways. The baseball is far behind the other things that he did. Just walking into the Auburn Performing Arts Center at his memorial, I think we were all stunned at the turnout. It was just it was incredible, and it was very moving and difficult for me just to get through because of the impact he's had on me. I've known him not just here at Seattle U, but I've recruited him 3 different times during my time at Tacoma as well. I recruited him twice. And then to end up with him here and finally get a chance to really work with him and be around him on an everyday basis, certainly going to miss him dearly.
Yeah, I think it was a lot to throw at a group of young men, and I think that they learned a lot, and they learned a lot from Cam. I think he was the leader of that pitching staff in terms of just energy and demanding perfection or absolute complete focus from the rest of those pitchers. And I think there were 3 pitchers on that staff who said they came here because they met Cam on their recruiting trip, and so he meant a lot to some of those young guys, and it was hard. I mean, we felt bad for ourselves, but looking at some of those boys in those eyes on that Sunday morning was really tough, and you started to see it, and a lot of those guys haven't forgot Cam. But one thing I don't think they've ever forgotten is what Cam meant to this program and how he went about his business. And I think that they will use that to their benefit, in a sad time. I think they've done a really good job of pulling out what you could get any positive out of an event like that, and he left a big mark on those guys, and I think people will see that.
I would just like to add too. I mean, quality individual, a guy that I know he always sought advice, and he always wanted to get better, and that was something that I always appreciated about him. But it also is a great example of what the Seattle U baseball community and family is about, and the love that's there, and even though it's a young program, but how closely knit it is. I mean, because there's so many parents that are involved in this program, I think that's common to the coaching staff, the way that they involve everybody. That's why it was so difficult added to the difficulty because this was such a close-knit family. You're not going to get that in most baseball communities. I've been to other schools, and you're not going to get the same feel that you got at a big-time university, say at a small but intimate university like CLU. And I think that that's just a tribute to the coaching staff that has really poured a lot of emphasis into the family atmosphere. And I know that that was a big part of how these young men are responding to it, is becoming closer in a lot of the positive ways.
And I think Doug is exactly right when he talks about the atmosphere around the program, and I think Donnie's done an unbelievable job of setting the tone of what CLU baseball is about. And baseball is about third or fourth on that list, and the community activism that we have, and developing kids and characters and human beings. I mean, how many times have we heard Donnie Harrell say, human being, right? Just that phrase. And Cam exemplified that more than any kid that I've ever been around. And I think that's the legacy that he's going to leave with our kids. Just understanding that it really does mean something. It isn't just talk from this program about how we want to create our players and moving forward. It's not just talk. They can make an impact on other people as well.
Yeah. Before we move on from talking about Canada, other aspects of the offseason, there's something I wanted to bring up that personally affected me, and I've been a little bit on the outside of this program, but paying attention to it from day one, and have gotten a chance to travel with the guys and talk to the guys as sort of this relatively impartial but somewhat invested third party. And an email showed up in my inbox not long after I found out about Cam's passing from Blaine Jones. And Blaine sent this email out to a list of, I think, basically players and coaches, and I was fortunate enough to be included on that list. And it was just forwarding an email that Cam had sent during the season last year. And without going into the detail of the content of the email, basically the point of it, because he had been left home on a trip, and was writing this email to his teammates who were out there competing, and he wasn't there with them. And the point of the email was to play every game as if it was your last, which is a cliche that we throw out a lot. But when you read it retrospectively from a kid who at that point had no longer been with us, and it was unbelievably poignant and striking, as if somehow it was his last message to the rest of his teammates. It was eerie, and it was something that still strikes me, and I think back to it often. I know a lot of guys on this team, a lot of people in the Seattle University community, baseball, athletics, school-wide, have felt the loss strongly, and I think this season, no doubt, is dedicated to his memory and the impact he had on this team. It seems odd to even try to move on from that, but we will get to a couple other points before we close out this segment of the Redhawks Roundtable. One thing that I wanted to get out of both of you guys, the illustrious hitting and pitching coaches, what are they working on? By they, I mean the kids. What do you have these Seattle University players working on this offseason? Give us one or two things that has been a focal point of the training this year. First of all, with the hitters, the pitcher, or we'll get to the pitchers, but the hitters and the fielders, what are they working on this offseason to get better?
Really, for us, it's about a mindset and creating an identity as an offense. Last year, I think I didn't do a good enough job of creating an identity within our guys about how we were going to attack other teams. It was a lot of searching for how we were going to win this game offensively, how we were going to help the pitchers this game offensively, running the bases. Can we do this? Can we do that? I think for me, I just had a struggle with finding that combination, those rhythms, and Donnie and Casey and I would talk about lineups and this and that. We tried a lot of different combinations, and part of it was due to injuries, and part of it was due to youth and inexperience and things like that. This year, we know roles much better, and we know what guys can do much better, and so it's creating that identity of how we're going to attack people. So it's a lot of mindset things at the plate, competing with confidence, and we have a new slogan, HAWK, that is an acronym for the way we're going to approach that offensively, both on the bases and at the plate. And it's certainly playing great defense for these guys. You know, Dave does a great job of getting the pitchers understanding that if they just give their fielders a chance, then we've got a chance to stay in a lot of ball games, and then the offense can take over. We've got some guys that have some weapons at the plate, and it's getting them to unleash that a little bit. So really it's about being in a more competitive mindset and understanding what you do and what you do well, and do that every day the best you can. If you're a power guy, run some balls out of the house, run some balls off the fence. And if you're a smaller guy who wants to make contact, get on base for those big boppers. And let's be able to create more runs like we talk about so much, and everybody across the country is really migrating towards that with the new bats and those sorts of things. So we really want to just do a better job of owning that and being really good every day at doing those things that we can control.
And Dave, for the pitching staff, well, if you could identify one or two things that you guys have worked on in particular.
Well, I think from day one, when we started in the fall, that the #1 focus has been command of a fastball. And it has been fastball command from the first bullpen through the last game of our Black and Scarlet World Series. And we're not even moving to an off-speed pitch until we can throw our fastball where we want to throw our fastball. And then we just went right into a changeup. As a fastball command, the ability to throw a changeup down for a percentage. Before we got into all the breaking balls, to teach guys, to show guys, you can win, you can compete just with location, because and a lot of the guys now understand themselves as do the hitters, and what kind of hitter they might be or what kind of hitter they are. If you're a control guy, you're not going to sit back and throw a by guys, which we don't have those guys, then you better hit your spots. I think more and more guys are buying into that, which allows them to do their strength, which is hit a spot, command a fastball, and be able to back off of it and really just pitch a little bit more. And I think it showed in the fall much better. The walks went way down in the fall versus the year before. The hit batters went down. Many more ground balls in the fall, and the games flowed so much better, and it kept the defense alive. There was more, there wasn't there's another hit batter and a walk in an inter-squad game. It was more, I'm going to come and get you, and forced contact. And I think the pitchers for the most part have done it. Still got to wait for the puppies that they're used to in high school, where you can rock back and throw it by a guy at 84 miles an hour. But those days are over, and they're going to have to, hopefully they take a couple lumps and pick it up quicker than wait for a year before they have to start to understand that.
It's been an exciting offseason, I think, in a lot of different ways. Improvements at the plate, improvements on the bump, but also, a big night coming up on January 31st. Cal Ripken Jr. is going to be coming in to Seattle, not for the All-Star game back in 2001. I had that one ready to go. But he's coming to talk to the Redhawks and all the Redhawk fans, the Redhawk parents, and everybody who wants to come. It's the Meet the Redhawks
still
night.
Available.
Yeah, you can check it out. It's on January 31st. It's going to be at the Bell Harbor Conference Center. Starts at 7 o'clock. There's a VIP cocktail hour to hang out with Cal. A little more personally, that's at 5:30. And if you want to contribute to the program, show up at that event. You can get your tickets online at GoSeattleU.com. But I'm personally very excited for that. You're going to have the Mariners PA guy, Tom Hutler, is going to be doing the auctions. You're going to have a real pro out there with a serious set of pipes. He puts most of us in the business to shame, and he'll be out there as well. So that's an exciting night. It's been great every year. It's going to be great this year as well. So get on that if you haven't gotten the opportunity to get tickets yet. And then also, just finally, there's been a little bit of a change in the office, Dave. If I remember correctly, there's sort of a change in leadership in terms of the organization, road trips and whatnot. What have you noticed in terms of how the office has been going?
Well, every year things seem to just get better. Every year and especially this year, you can already look at it and see. I mean, the hotels are more organized and better. The restaurants that we've already planned on eating is just going to be consistently much better. Not running around, where are we getting our yogurt and where are we doing these types of things.
Right.
It just seems to be much smoother.
And that's a real credit to Jeff James, our director of baseball.
Unsung hero.
Unsung hero.
Yeah.
He's in the office. He's behind the scenes, but he's the guy that makes the engine run.
Sure.
And it's so refreshing to just have a person who shows up every day to work and does his job to the best of his abilities.
Always there.
And I think that's a huge change that we just haven't had before. And moving forward, I think it's going to be a huge impact on our program. Just in the smoothness of the operation, it allows the coaches to coach and the players to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's from Donegal Fergus to my left, Dave Wainhouse, Doug Buser. I'm Dan Giuliani. Thank you for joining us for this edition of the Redhawks Roundtable. GoSeattleU.com is where you can find us anytime, day or night. you want to check out any of the Redhawks Roundtable episodes. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time on the Redhawks